All right, let's dive into this one. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. That title, right?
It definitely grabs your attention.
Little provocative, maybe,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of brilliant. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's like instantly you know this is not your typical self-help book.
Right. So we're going to unpack all that. For everyone listening, we're going to dig into why this book, with a title that might make you raise an eyebrow or two, is actually a compelling read and might even, dare I say it, change your life.
No, I think that's fair to say. It's not about being indifferent, right? It's about figuring out what actually matters to you.
Yes. Choosing your battles, as they say. And to really get into it, we've got excerpts from the book. We're going to be pulling from the table of contents to guide us. It's going to be a deep dive.
A deep dive indeed.
So, Mark Manson, he opens the book with a story about this writer, Charles Bukowski. Have you heard of him?
Oh, yeah, legendary. Kind of a, how to put it, a rough around the edges character.
That's a nice way to put it. Bukowski, he was a self-proclaimed bum, a gambler, not exactly who you picture when you think self-improvement guru.
It's an anti-guru, maybe.
Right. But that's exactly Manson's point. Bukowski, he didn't try to fit in. He embraced his flaws, and his writing, it was raw, authentic.
And that's what people connected with. He was unapologetically himself. Didn't give it, well, you know.
He dedicated his first novel to nobody. I mean, come on, that's commitment.
Total commitment.
But what does that even mean for us? We're not all Bukowskis.
It's not about being Bukowski. It's about finding your own version of that. What are you doing just because you think you should?
Ooh, I like that. It's like, find the things you can say screw it to. Free up some mental space.
Exactly.
And speaking of mental space, Manson, he talks about this thing, the feedback loop from hell. You ever get stuck in those?
Oh, big time.
He's got this whole scenario, someone stuck at home, totally spiraling, and they end up, get this, flossing their cat.
Out of sheer boredom and anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't flossed the cat.
I haven't either yet.
But that feeling, that anxiety spiral.
Oh, it's real.
And that, my friends, is the backwards law. The harder you chase something, the more it eludes you. Like happiness.
It's like trying to catch smoke. The more you grasp, the less you hold.
So what are we supposed to do? Just accept misery?
Not at all. That's where Manson flips the script. He says, happiness, it's not about avoiding problems.
It's about choosing the right ones.
Here you go.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Right.
And to illustrate this whole problem-solving thing, he tells this story in chapter 2 about this prince. Pampered, has everything, but he's miserable.
It's only when he goes out, faces some real challenges, that he actually finds some meaning.
So what you're saying is we need a little struggle in our lives.
Struggle, challenges, it's how we grow.
So think about it, everybody. What are you avoiding that might actually be good for you?
What if that problem is actually a hidden opportunity?
Ooh, deep. And that leads perfectly into this idea, choosing your struggle.
One of my favorite concepts from the book.
Because we all want the easy life, right?
Sure, who doesn't?
But, as Manson says, that's not where the good stuff happens. It's in the struggle.
The key is choosing the right struggles, the ones that align with your values.
And how do we know which struggles to choose?
That's the real question, isn't it? It's about figuring out what truly matters to you. What are your values? What are you willing to fight for?
Okay, so it's not just about randomly picking a struggle and going with it.
No, not at all. It's about aligning your struggles with your values. Like imagine a ship, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
It wants calm waters, but without the wind, it's not going anywhere. The wind, that's the struggle. It's what propels you forward.
I like that analogy. But what about the stuff we can't control? Life throws curveballs.
This is where acceptance comes in. Life is unpredictable. We can't control everything that happens.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Absolutely. It's a practice, for sure. But we can control how we react, how we frame things.
Okay, I'm with you. And Manson, he doesn't shy away from the big stuff either, like death.
Whole chapter on it.
And he makes this interesting point. He says, thinking about death, it can actually make you less afraid of it.
It puts things in perspective, right?
Totally. Suddenly that annoying coworker, not a big deal.
Exactly. It helps you focus on what truly matters, make the most of the time you have.
And speaking of time, let's talk about this idea, the do something principle.
Oh, this is a good one.
Manson tells this story about starting his business. He was so stuck in this cycle of, I need to feel motivated.
Been there, waiting for that burst of inspiration.
And it never comes. Or it does, like a week later when you're knee-deep in something else.
Well, worse.
Oh.
And Manson realizes action It often comes before motivation.
So just start, even if you don't feel like it.
Sometimes you just gotta move, even a small step.
So what you're saying is, don't wait for the motivation fairy to hit you with her magic wand.
Exactly. Just do something. Anything. You might surprise yourself.
And that's when the motivation kicks in, huh? Like you trick yourself into it.
It's not really a trick. It's more like action creates its own momentum.
Okay, I like that. So we've covered a lot with this book. We talked about Bukowski, choosing your battles, happiness being a little bit about being unhappy sometimes, even death.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. So if you had to pick, what's the most important thing to remember from The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
I think ultimately it's about taking control of your own life, not letting other people's expectations dictate what you should care about.
Defining success for yourself.
Exactly. It's your life, your rules, well, within reason.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
No anarchy here.
Right. But choosing your values, choosing your struggles, and accepting, life is messy.
It's imperfect.
And that's okay. That's where the real stuff happens.
So to kind of bring it full circle, Manson talks about death, right? We touched on that.
Heavy stuff, but important.
And it makes you think,
Yeah.
like, if you knew you only had a limited amount of time, what would you stop giving a fuck about right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. What would you just let go of?
And what would you finally go after? Full force.
What really matters at the end of the day?
Ooh, I like that. That's something to think about.
Definitely. Something to ponder.
Well, that's about all the time we have for our deep dive into the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Hopefully everyone listening feels a little less inclined to give too many,
Fucks.
Yes. Thank you. Go out there, choose your battles, and live your best life.
Until next time.